So few of the nobodies that are in Organization 13 look this amazing. The most fabulous and graceful nobody to ever not exist. Marluxia is here to make you swoon over him. Okay, that might just be me, but can you blame me? Well, this is what you wanted, so let's just jump into it. And hey, if you like these character analysis videos, or Kingdom Hearts in general, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, share around, and hit the bell to be notified when a video goes live. It helps out the channel a ton and motivates me more and more to throw more of this stuff out to you guys. Starting off where we first debut is, of course, Chain of Memories. While at first we don't get to see him all in his cherry blossom petal glory, I think we just sneak a peek at his character design. One of the tallest members in the organization, Marluxia has fluffy pink hair that goes to about his shoulders to the start of his back. This shows more of his graceful side. Marluxia has some blue eyes, which is pretty interesting if you think about it, because characters associated with light usually have blue to bluish eyes. It shows that he used to have a connection to the light in the past before he became a nobody. How much of his past was written before this, I don't know, but it does hint at his old life that we'll get to later in this video. Also, there's a whole theory I found that I'll post in the description for you to follow to get the full read of the eye color theory. It's too unrelated in this video to go into a deep dive into it, and I think it's a pretty interesting read. The way Marluxia looks here gives a more threatening aura about him than his voice lets on. Where his voice is calming, the way he looks at the camera with his head looking down at us shows another side, another story, to him. This game shows this full force later on. His scythe shows green, whites, and pinks, a hint at affiliation with flowers, where cherry blossom petals are usually what's being shown. This is to symbolize life and death. We first meet Marluxia during the intro to Chain of Memories where he says,
"Along the road ahead lies something you need. However, in order to claim it, you must lose something that is dear to you."
Which, besides being the normal cryptid JRPG BS, this shows the beginning of his plans to try to take over Sora's heart. Yet again, we see later that this quote means a lot more with this elegant man. He helped Sora navigate the castle by telling him how it would work. He's also able to recreate Sora's memories from the turn of the card, and even taunt Sora to basically go alone, planting even more seeds of his true nature. Later down the line, we see him manipulate Naminé, taunting her about a promise she and Sora made that we later learn is fake. Not to mention, he threatens Vexen that if he were to fail him again, like he did with the Riku replica, that he would be eliminated. Good thing for Vexen being a scientist, otherwise— Oh, finally, we see what kind of a person he really is. Non-existent, he's a monster, but even still, we later see how much of a bad guy he really is, because he's talking with the other members that the real reason they're using Sora is so that they, those that are in Castle Oblivion, can overthrow their own organization. During the endgame when he's facing off against Axel, it looks like Marluxia had some form of genuine disappointment that Burger King Flame Broiled didn't want to go along with their plans. Before he tries once again to manipulate Sora to attack and defeat Axel so they can make him a pawn, but it doesn't work. When confronted, Marluxia finally shows his real self, saying that he would destroy Sora's heart so he can worm his way to make Sora the perfect version to take over the organization. An empty shell like the Riku replica, yet the Riku replica is still able to function on his own, showing that even if he were to make Sora an empty shell, that Sora would just fight back against him. This also shows how powerful memories truly can be, even if they're false. The Riku replica also seems to have real feelings, so it just seems Marluxia was wrong about replicas.
The Keyblade's power. How I've longed to make it my own.
We do learn that he was once a wielder, but his memory was erased or he forgotten, something happened. However, I don't think they're truly gone, because once we fight the second phase, there's nobody that he's using for the fight, a remnant of the past that still lingers within him. While the story may not have been written with him having a sister in his mind, I do believe that this nobody was someone always important to him that was later worked into his sister. Marluxia rests on top of the head like a blooming flower. He may not remember his past currently, but with him popping out of the head like a flower on top of a mountain, this could symbolize that she's always on his mind and is willing to do anything to bring her back, despite him not realizing it. When beaten, Chain of Memories has an exclusive third phase where Marluxia rests at the bottom of the nobody. The nobody is now holding his scythe as if it's protecting him, like the promise they made back when they were younger. But that's not until further in the video. So while I don't think this is the nobody of Strelitzia, I do think that it is connected to her, a figment of memory left within Marluxia that he made, because he has his own road, a road where he lost his memories but found a new purpose. But as we find out within the series, memories are never truly gone. They stay within the heart, though he has no heart, but there's still something lingering within him. When 358 starts, it shows off each member with a description of them, both different in the movie and in the game. In the movie, Marluxia is labeled as Ambitions Hidden by Flowers and Scythe, Graceful Assassin. While in the game, it's In the arc of his scythe, flowers grow and all else perishes. His pretty face hides ugly motives. I personally really like the DS games description more, as it basically tells us what I said in the Chain of Memory section, but it also lets us know that he uses the power of Doom, which he can use to easily defeat enemies. Though, that does make me wonder where he gets this power, if he's always had it even way back when. Marluxia doesn't stay for too long, as he and most of those who go to Castle Oblivion teach you the basic of how things work. Before you go on your mission though, you can talk with the other members, and while he does seem professional at first, as time goes on he talks about using the Keyblade in some way. This could have been the domino effect that led him to his plans in Chain of Memories. When we get to the King of Unfortunate Names, Marluxia is there showing how we see him in Chain of Memories. He tries to manipulate everyone around him and even makes it look like Eugene left Rapunzel and took the crown, when in reality, Eugene never made that choice. His plan was to even use nobodies and get them sacrificed to get Rapunzel to think that her mom was a good guy. Later we see him in the Keyblade graveyard where he talks about how each replica they use got better and better, which I think shows more than he lets on. Xemnas also says,
"You four are going to reveal your greatest secret, the ancient Keyblade legacy that slumbers within you,"
to the other members that are there right now. We learned that in Union Cross, Marluxia and Larxene were wielders of the past, but does that mean Demyx and Luxord were also ones at some point too? The last we see of him is during the ending portion where, upon being defeated, he finally remembers his past, showing that even for nobodies, memories can rest deep within and sometimes just needs help reawakening them. Even if that means by getting your shit kicked in by a giant sword key. His smile, unlike the other times, feels real, thanking Sora. The beginning of it all for this mysterious nobody. We don't really get to see him until after the Keyblade War and after Strelitzia's death, but with a new version of him, I think it's fair that we look over his design. This is his human variant, Lauriam. Being younger than we see him in his debut game, he's shorter and even has shorter but still fluffy pink hair. However, despite how young he is, his clothing shows he's just as dapper as the fake appearance he tried giving off as his nobody. Though his vest has some holes at the bottom of it, why it's there? I don't know, I just think it looks cool. Being one of the many Keyblade wielders of the past, he was a part of the Dandelions, and what other Keyblade would he use other than Divine Rose? Chosen as one of the new leaders of the Union, he and the others seem to get along great. Here we see Lauriam's personality come out. More reserved, but not entirely closed off, he goes out of his way to help his friends think things through, like when Ventus doubts himself or when Ephemer needs an idea on how to get the other wielders to fight without hurting each other. It also seems like he and Brain get along greatly, as both are more of the thinkers of the group. They're often seen together in the meeting room while the others are out and about. That isn't to say that neither of them are weak, but they would rather experiment than fight. Lauriam also had a sister named Strelitzia, the younger sibling having an obsession with plants, and, if you look closely, her hair ribbons make out the number 11, showing her connection with Marluxia before we even knew who Lauriam was. Before the Keyblade War, she sees our player character and kinda gets obsessed with them, seeing us all the time. Be it romantic or not, she wanted to get to know us before seeing a false image of us go into a dark building, and she was struck down. Lauriam and her friends didn't have a clue. To them, she just disappeared. A good part of the story is Lauriam wanting to find her, and honestly, this storyline may have led him down the road to darkness. Someone that used to know Strelitzia was Elrena, the human variant to Larxene. She tells Lauriam that his sister was always thinking of someone who happened to be us, and when brought up to the members, they go out and question us. The camera panning over to Lauriam here in this scene, where he just kind of stands in the doorway, gives me this eerie feeling. I don't know why, but it just kind of feels threatening to me. Though the lighting coming through the door could hint that he may think he found an answer to his missing sister. Despite player not knowing her, he asks to keep Strelitzia in our hearts. Daybreak Town, now in a dated version of itself, starts to glitch out, and some of those glitches are things that happened before the Keyblade War took place. Elrena had seen a glitched version of Lauriam's sister, to which when told, he runs directly into the dimly lit building screaming her name. This man is on the point of his own destruction because he and his sister were actually really close. They were more like best friends than siblings. During one of the new leaders' meetings, they were trying to come up with theories on what those random glitches could be, but nothing about his sister, and while still trying to be rational, he does seem frustrated and angry behind it all. And as Zimna said before,
anger and hate are supreme.
After Maleficent was struck down in Kingdom Hearts 1, she was sent to the past thanks to the masterminds called Darkness, where they explain how she exists in the future, as is written in the Book of Prophecies, as well as how she can get to the future. As she's about to take one of the pods though, who else but Lauriam is there? The confidence he has in this scene is great, though he is defeated. Lauriam has a dream of his sister where,
maybe when you get strong enough to protect me, then we'll pair up, and you can carry me through battle.
And
I will get stronger. I will carry you one day.
eventually, the Union leaders come up with theories on who could have killed Strelitzia without Lauriam. Though he does come in after fighting Maleficent, and despite his injuries, is ready to strike down Ven, who admits that he was the one to do the deed. Though, of course, he was under the illusion of darkness. He's able to calm down a bit as the new leaders and the player character come to try to fight them off. Now admittedly, I have never made it to this part of Union Cross before it went offline, but thanks to Damo showing off this fight, we see how he attacks. Lauriam rises up with the cherry blossom petals around him, but also a dark aura. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if his heart was filled with darkness, which made him ripe to become a Heartless and Marluxia. Ventus stands up to take one of the many formless darkness inside him so that they could be defeated, but they chose to send people to the future instead, one of which being Lauriam. Lauriam ends up in the flower fields in Dwarf Woodlands, and eventually he becomes Marluxia and loses his memories. A tragic beginning from someone who only wanted the best for his Keyblade wielders. And that's Marluxia's story down. This was an interesting go through someone's history backwards essentially. And not only that, but seeing how Marluxia came to be from his upstanding roots. A young man eventually turned manipulator because of one bad thing that led to another. All in all though, he was eventually able to remember his past. And with his sister in the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, I believe he'll play a bigger part in the next saga that's to come. If you like the video, then why not subscribe, hit the bell, and join my memberships to become part of the Union. You'll get notified of new videos and access to exclusives such as emotes, members-only live streams, and both visual and vocal shoutouts. And hey, since you made it this far, why not tell me who your favorite organization member is? Mine is honestly tied between Demyx, Roxas, and Axel, though I am starting to lean more towards Axel. If you want to see more of me, then go follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky, and hey, maybe I'll see you guys soonish. May your heart be your guiding key.